Yesterday, Senator Ireti Kingibe condemned Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, for seizing people's property just because they have refused to pay ground rent. According to Senator Ireti Kingibe, she's of the opinion that Wike do not have a right to seize people's properties just because they refuse to pay ground rent. But anyway, now we are hearing a response from Wike himself, calling Senator Ireti Kingibe very embarrassingly ignorant for a serving senator to be unaware of Section 28 Land Use Act. Let's have your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Do you think the penalty for not paying ground rent should be the seizure of a person's property, or do you think the person could be charged to court? The person should be asked to pay a fine, and all those punishments should be melted out to the person instead of property seizure. What are your thoughts on that, guys? Let me have them in the comment section. Before we go ahead with the details of today's news, if this is your first time here, you have not subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? Please go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button. Most importantly, click on the notification bell so that you'll be the first person to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Don't forget to leave your opinions in the comment section below as well. A heated political dispute erupted on Thursday between the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, and the FCT's representative in the Senate, Senator Ireti Kingibe, over the recent selling of properties in Abuja due to ground rent defaults. Senator Kingibe had on May 26 publicly condemned the mass clampdown as unconstitutional and high-handedness, raising concerns that the closure of several buildings, including the People's Democratic Party (PDP) National Secretariat and Access Bank offices, violated the rights of residents and businesses. In a strongly worded statement shared on our official X handle, Kingibe accused the FCT administration of disregarding legal procedures. She argued that the enforcement measures failed to comply with provisions of the Land Use Act and the Urban Regional Planning Act, which she said stipulates penalties such as fines, not outright property seizure. No Nigerian's property can be lawfully seized or sealed solely due to ground rent default, she said, describing the FCTA's actions as indiscriminate and insensitive in light of the country's economic challenges. She further warned that such actions could erode public trust and deepen economic hardship for Abuja residents. Kingibe pledged to push for legislative measures to ensure that due process governs future enforcement actions. In response, Wike's media aide Larry Olayinka released a counter-statement accusing Senator Kingibe of ridiculous ignorance of existing land laws. He said her remarks reflected a personal grudge rather than a genuine legal argument. It is embarrassingly ignorant for a serving senator to be unaware of Section 28 of the Land Use Act, Olayinka said. Ground rent is not optional. It is a legal obligation, and failure to comply for 10, 20, even 43 years cannot be excused. Olayinka insisted that non-payment constitutes a breach of a property's certificate of occupancy, C of O, a valid reason under the law for revocation of or sealing. Would Senator Kingibe, if she were FCT minister, fold her hands while landowners evade payment of what is legally due to for decades, he queried. He accused the senator of using her position to defend property owners who have failed in their civic obligations and called on her to purge herself of hatred for Wike. Senator Kingibe, however, stood her ground while acknowledging that payments of ground rent is necessary. She emphasized that enforcement must follow due legal procedure and respect the rights of property owners. We must not let frustration with defaulters override constitutional protections, she said. Democratic governance demands fairness, legality, and sensitivity to citizens' economic realities. The confrontation underscores growing political tensions between the two FCT power players, despite a recent intervention by President Bola Tinubu. In an attempt to ease the controversy, the president had approved a 14-day grace period for defaulters to settle outstanding rent, a move that temporarily paused the FCTA's enforcement drive. Senator Kingibe called on residents to remain calm and law-abiding, assuring them that the situation remains under close scrutiny. We are committed to ensuring that dialogue, justice, and due process prevail, she said. You guys, what are your thoughts on this? Let's have them in the comment section. I think that I am with Wiki on this because I think that people are not condemning these individuals that fail to pay ground rent enough. I think people are not condemning them. They are just focusing on, the selling of their property or the seizure of their property. That is what people are, concentrating on, maybe because they want to get 1 or 2 points, from people, from individuals. They are not, totally saying the truth. Why would these people fail to pay ground rent for 20 years, 40 years? None of these people, none of these same people, according to Larry Olayinka, none of them can do the same when they travel out. They would make sure that they obey the rules and regulations of the country. They do all they can, to be a law-abiding citizen. But they come back to Nigeria, and because they know that Nigeria is a lawless country, nobody follows laws, nobody follows the constitution. They do anyhow. These are big, big companies, for God's sake. It's not like they cannot afford it. It's just like the negligence because they know that nobody is going to enforce it. It's not like they do not know that they hold this money. They know. And Wiki has given them ultimatum before. Wiki has, announced to them, he has told them, he has publicized their names. Access Bank, FIRS, PDP. These are big, big companies that can afford it. It's not like they cannot afford it. It's not like, small, small companies. These are not small, small companies that they are locking up their shops. These are big, big companies that are generating revenue in Abuja, but you cannot pay your ground rent. You're generating revenue, you're doing business, but you cannot pay ground rent. How does that even make sense? Now, I do not support that, their property should be seized, but I support a sealing of their property. If they are not able to do business for like a week or some few days, they would know that they need to go and pay the money. In Nigeria, if things are not taken by force, people would not know. People would not do it. People would not take it seriously. I support the sealing of their property, but not the seizure, because how can you seize people's property? There are other ways you can go about it, like fines, asking them to pay fine, charging the person to court, but not permanent seizure of people's property. These are properties that people have worked for years. You cannot just wake up one day and say that you want to seize their property because they failed to pay ground rent. That's not just reasonable. But I think that, the discourse should also be about people refusing to pay ground rent when they know that, they hold this money and when they know that this money is due. That's very wrong. It's a wrongful act. They should not only condemn the seizure of a property, they should also condemn the act of people not paying ground rent as well. Before we go, my people, let's take a look at some of the reactions we got online. Obona says, it is now clear to Nigerians that it is Ireti Kingibe that is looking for Wike's trouble, not otherwise. But you cannot say Ireti Kingibe is looking for his trouble because, she's just throwing her opinion out there. She's a senator of the FCT, so if she does not choke mouth, please, who else should say something about this situation if not her? Her stand might not seem right to a lot of people, but you cannot say she's looking for his trouble. Let's have your thoughts and your opinions in the comment section. Thank you very much for listening and watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye for now.